to allow the very confused yet stylishly dressed moose to run right under them. Upshooting, you should know, is really the only magical power that elves have, though actually it's not so much magic as it is simple science. Unlike humans, who breathe in oxygen and convert it to carbon dioxide, elves turn the oxygen to helium, which is why their voices are so high and why they are such good dancers. They're very light on their feet. It's also how they manage to get up and down all those chimneys to assist Santa with his Christmas toy deliveries. The problem with upshooting is that you can't hold your breath forever, which, in this particular situation, made for a very temporary solution to a very permanent moose. When Eldor and Skiff returned to the ground, the highly agitated beast stopped running and whirled around to face the now breathless elves. Like a snowplow about to clear a city street, the moose lowered its antlers to elf level, groaned audibly, and rumbled forward. Eldor and Skiff, seeing little other option, desperately ran toward the village, still a good 75 yards away. As they crested the hill and the twinkling lights of the village came into full view, Eldor was the first to notice the thin ribbons of smoke spiraling up from the chimney of the convention center.
"What?"
he gasped, momentarily forgetting about his four-legged pursuer.
"Are they having a meeting without us? Again?"
Before Skiff could respond, the moose reminded the elves of his presence by slamming its antlers into their collective backsides with enough force to send them airborne.
"Ah!"
Screamed Skiff, who, unlike his friend, had very little experience when it came to broken bones.
"Upshoot!"
yelled Eldor. And when the two elves sucked in all the oxygen they could and held it in, they became like two fast-moving, elf-shaped helium balloons, soaring directly toward the convention center. Inside the building, the meeting, to which Eldor and Skiff had intentionally not been invited, had just come to order. Nurk, chief foreman of North Operations and honored member of the International Coalition of Elves, was about to give his annual speech on the importance of teamwork during the last 2 weeks before Christmas. Standing at the podium, the middle-aged elf adjusted his reading glasses, then cleared his throat for way too long. Unless you're a big fan of loose phlegm, it was pretty gross. Thankfully for all in attendance, the sound of mucus rising up the back of one's throat ended abruptly when Eldor and Skiff came crashing through the window and tumbled across the meeting hall.
"Eldor? Skiff? What are you doing here?"
asked Nurk with a frown as the two new arrivals picked themselves off the glass-strewn floor.
"What are we doing here?"
Eldor sneered, brushing a few bits of glass from his official forest green elf suit.
"I think the question is, what are we not doing here? Are you having a meeting without us? Again?" "Unbelievable,"
said Skiff, who barely had time to shake his head in disgust before the doors to the hall were blasted open by a full-grown moose in plaid pants. The swinging doors knocked Eldor and Skiff halfway across the room, where they toppled the refreshment table, sending punch, cookies, cakes, and Junie's famous lemon squares to the floor. High-pitched, helium-fueled screams filled the air as the moose rumbled through the meeting hall, batting the horrified elves around the room with its antlers.
"This is horrible,"
shrieked Skiff from behind the overturned table.
"What do we do?" "Here,"
said Eldor, plucking a fallen dessert out of the crease of his pants.
"When life gives you lemons, eat a lemon square." "I don't want a lemon square,"
shouted Skiff.
"Suit yourself,"
said Eldor, taking a big bite as frantic elves rushed for the exit. The stampede created a bottleneck, providing the perfect opportunity for the moose to rush in and scoop up 3 or 4 elves at a time and hurl them against the walls and into an upright piano with a rather non-musical clang.
"You know, it's weird to think that someday we'll laugh about this,"
Eldor mumbled.